Time is a strange thing. When you're young, it feels endless. The days blend into weeks, the weeks into years, and you don't notice how fast it all moves, until one day you do. You wake up, look around, and realize that most of the road is behind you. The people around you have changed. Some are gone. Your body is slower, your memories louder, and your regrets clearer. My name is Harold. I'm 87 years old. And I'm dying. They don't say it directly anymore. The doctors speak gently as if softening the truth makes it easier to hear. But I've lived too long to be fooled by silence. I know what it means when they start using words like comfort and peace. It means time is no longer on your side. At this stage, every breath feels borrowed. Every sunrise feels like a gift you weren't sure you'd receive. I've stopped asking about treatments. I've stopped looking for miracles. I'm not scared of dying, not really. I'm afraid of what I didn't do while I was living. Because now, in this quiet space between life and death, all I can do is look back. I don't think anyone expects their life to end. Not really. Even in our final years, we still plan, still hope. We imagine future birthdays, holidays, and maybe a walk in the garden when spring returns. We never quite believe our story will end mid-sentence. But death doesn't wait for closure. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It just arrived. And so here I am. Not ready. Not finished. And full of thoughts I never had time to say out loud. You see, when you're close to the end, your mind does something strange. It stops replaying your greatest hits and starts replaying your quietest failures. Not the big mistakes, like losing a job or making a poor investment. No, the ones that sneak up on you. The moments when you chose silence over truth, safety over risk, comfort over connection. Those are the regrets that linger. When I was younger, I thought regret was something dramatic. Something that came from a single moment. A choice that changed everything. But it isn't like that. It's slow. It builds. It grows in the space between your intentions and your actions. It waits in the corners of your memory, quiet at first. And then one day, it's all you can hear. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. I sit in my chair, the one near the window that gets the morning light, and I ask myself questions I wish I'd asked when I was 30, or 40, or even 60. What mattered most? What did I waste my time on? Who did I hurt? Who did I love enough? These questions don't come with easy answers. But the more I've thought about it, the more I've come to realize there are 3 things I regret more than anything else. 3 moments, 3 choices, that I would give anything to change. Not because I think they define my life, but because they reveal the truth of it. The first is about love. The kind I pushed away. The second is about time. The kind I thought I had more of. And the third, it's about courage. Or rather, the times I had none. Before I share those stories, I want you to understand something. I am not sharing them for sympathy. I'm not looking for comfort, or redemption, or praise for speaking up. I'm telling you because maybe, just maybe, if I speak my truth now, it might stop someone else from repeating my silence. Life teaches you lessons, but not always in time for you to apply them. That's the cruel part. But wisdom doesn't have to die with the person who learns it. It can be passed on, carried forward, given freely to someone who still has enough time to use it. So here's my hope, that as you listen to this, whether you're young and just starting out, or in the middle of your life and feeling stuck, you'll hear something in my words that wakes you up, that makes you pause, that reminds you how short and fragile this life really is. You don't have to wait until you're 87 and dying to understand what matters. You can choose now. You can change now. You can begin again now. The things I'm going to share with you are deeply personal. Some of them are painful. All of them are true. And maybe in a different world I would have kept them to myself. But I don't have time for that anymore. The truth is all I have left. And if it helps even one person live more bravely, more honestly, more fully, then maybe my mistakes won't have been for nothing. So, if you're still with me, I invite you to walk with me through my memories, my missteps, and my regrets. This is not just a story about dying. It's a story about living, and how easily we let it slip through our fingers when we don't pay attention. Her name was Eleanor. I met her when I was 24. She was nothing like the women I had known before. She had a quiet strength, The kind that didn't beg for attention but made you feel it anyway. Her laughter didn't just fill a room, it stayed with you, like music you couldn't forget. We met by chance. A friend invited me to a dinner party I didn't want to attend. I was tired, overworked, and bitter about something I can't even remember now. I nearly didn't go. But I did. And there she was, sitting at the end of the table, telling a story about the first time she rode a horse and got thrown off in the mud. Everyone laughed, but I just watched her. Something about her made the world go quiet. We spent the entire night talking. The party faded away, and it was just us, two strangers who felt like old friends. I remember thinking, this could be something. And it was. For a while. We dated for 1.5 years. It was the happiest I had ever been. But at that age, I didn't understand happiness. I didn't know how to hold on to something good. I was too focused on the future, on building a career, on chasing what I thought success looked like. I told myself love could wait. That Eleanor would still be there once I had everything figured out. She wasn't. She wanted more. Not from me, just from life. She wanted to travel, to build a family, to make memories that weren't just weekends squeezed between work emails and late nights at the office. I told her I wasn't ready, that I needed time, that I couldn't slow down. And so she left. She didn't leave angry. That was the worst part. She left with grace, with a sadness in her eyes that still haunts me. She hugged me one last time, and I remember the way she whispered, "You'll regret this one day." She was right. At the time, I was too proud to chase her. I told myself it was for the best, that I was doing the right thing. But the truth is I was scared. Scared of loving someone so deeply. Scared of needing someone. Scared of not being enough. Years passed. I heard she got married. Had 2 children. Moved to the coast. I never reached out. Not because I didn't want to, but because I felt I didn't have the right. I let her go. I chose ambition over connection. I chose fear over love. And I've thought about her every year since. You see, people often think regret is about something you did. But just as often, it's about what you didn't do. The words you didn't say. The chances you didn't take. The person you didn't fight for. I never told Eleanor how much she meant to me. Not really. I said the usual things. I care about you. I'm just not ready. I need time. But I never said, I love you and I'm scared, but I want to try. And if I had, maybe the story would have been different. We like to believe we'll have second chances. That one day, when we're braver or wiser or less busy, we'll go back and make things right. But life doesn't work like that. Most of the time, we don't get a second chance. We just get the memory of the first one, and the echo of what we lost. I went on to build the career I wanted. I made money. I bought a house. I traveled. I met people. I even got married, to someone kind and good, but it was never quite the same. I gave parts of myself, but never the whole. Because a part of me was still with her. Eleanor wasn't perfect. Neither was I. But what we had was rare. And I let it slip away because I didn't understand at the time that love isn't supposed to wait for you to be ready. It asks you to show up, scared and uncertain, and choose it anyway. If I could go back, I wouldn't ask for fame or fortune or more time to climb the ladder. I'd ask for 1 more hour with her, to say all the things I never said, to sit with her in silence and let her know that I saw her, that I loved her, and that letting her go was the greatest mistake of my life. But I can't go back. That's the thing about regret. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It waits. It shows up in the quiet moments, in songs, in smells, in old photos you forgot you kept. And it reminds you that some chapters end not with a goodbye, but with a silence that stretches forever. To anyone listening, if there's someone in your life that you love, truly love, and you're letting fear, pride, or busyness stand in the way, don't wait. Say the words. Take the leap. Show up. Because one day, you'll wake up and realize it's too late. And there's nothing heavier than the weight of a love you let go. I don't know where Eleanor is now. I don't know if she remembers me. But I remember her. I always will. And that is my first and deepest regret. I always thought I had more time. That's the second regret. And it's not a single moment. It's 1,000 small ones. It's years of believing I could call tomorrow, visit next month, fix things next year. It's the way I convinced myself that life would wait for me to be ready, that the people I loved would always be there. They weren't. When you're young, time feels endless. You put off phone calls. You skip holidays. You miss birthdays. Not out of malice, but because you're busy. Because you assume there will always be another one. You tell your parents you'll visit soon. You promise your kids you'll have more time after this next project. You delay forgiveness. You postpone joy. You treat time like a currency you can spend recklessly. But time isn't currency. It's sand. And it slips through your fingers, no matter how tightly you try to hold it. I remember when my father died. I was 38. He'd been sick for a while, but I kept thinking he'd get better. That he was too strong to go so soon. He asked me to visit. I told him I would, next weekend. I was in the middle of a work deal. I had meetings. I had deadlines. I told myself he'd understand. He didn't get a next weekend. The call came on a Tuesday morning. He passed in his sleep, they said. Peacefully. Quietly. Alone. I sat in my office and stared at the wall for what felt like hours. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, stunned by the silence of it. Not just his death, but my absence. The empty chair beside his bed that should have been mine. And then it started, the thoughts. The I should have called. The I could have flown out. The why did I wait? But it wasn't just my father. It happened again. And again. A friend from college. Gone in a car crash. We hadn't spoken in years, even though I still had his number saved. A colleague I respected deeply. Diagnosed with cancer. I meant to write him a letter. He died before I sent it. Even my own children. I was present, yes, but not always there. I was home, but my mind was on work. I was at recitals but checking emails. I was at dinner but thinking about tomorrow's presentation. I told myself it was for them, that the sacrifice was noble, that building a good life was what a father was supposed to do. But they didn't want more things. They wanted more of me. And now I see it so clearly. Time isn't just minutes on a clock. It's the look in your mother's eyes when you finally show up. It's your child's hand slipping into yours at the park. It's the sound of laughter around the dinner table. It's late-night conversations with your spouse, even when you're tired. It's choosing to be present when it would be easier not to be. I wasted so much of it. Not on evil things. Just distractions. Things that felt urgent but weren't important. Things I thought would bring me peace but only added more noise. I look at pictures now, birthdays I missed, vacations I skipped, moments where I should have said yes but chose no. And I wonder, what if I had just taken the time? Because the truth is, the most painful part of growing old isn't the aches or the slowing down. It's watching the people you love fade away, and realizing you never truly saw them when they were right in front of you. I used to hear people say, live in the moment, and think it was just a phrase. Something people wrote on coffee mugs or posted on social media. But now, at 87, with more memories than time left, I understand how sacred that moment truly is. You don't realize you're living the good days until they become the stories you tell in a quiet room. I know we all have responsibilities. Bills to pay. Jobs to do. But if you're listening to this and thinking you'll make time later, don't. Make it now. Call your parents. Visit your friend. Hug your kids longer. Apologize first. Forgive faster. Be late for work if it means being on time for your life. Because one day, you'll be sitting where I am, watching the final credits roll, and the only thing you'll want is more time with the people who mattered. And let me tell you something else. It's not just about making time for people. It's about making time to become the person they deserve to have in their life. I wish I had been more present, more gentle, less busy, less distracted. I wish I had seen that being there, fully there, is the greatest gift you can give someone. I can't get those moments back. I can only hope that, in some small way, this message helps you protect the ones you still have. So, if today you're too tired to go see your mother, go anyway. If you're too busy to make that call, make it anyway. If your heart tells you to say something, say it. If you've been waiting for the right time to mend a broken relationship, let me tell you, that time is now. Because waiting is a gamble. And time never guarantees a second chance. That's my second regret. The time I thought I had. Courage. It's a strange thing. People think it's loud. That it's found in grand gestures, in bold moves, in daring leaps. But the older I get, the more I realize courage often shows up in quiet decisions, the small, invisible ones that shape a life. And my third greatest regret? It's not that I lacked courage once. It's that I lacked it repeatedly. In small ways, day after day. I didn't live as fully, as honestly, or as bravely as I could have. And that subtle cowardice cost me more than I could have ever imagined. I wasn't always afraid. As a child, I had dreams like anyone else. I wanted to paint. I loved sketching people's faces, imagining their stories. I filled notebooks with drawings, secret worlds no one ever saw. But somewhere along the way, I let fear creep in. You'll never make a living doing that, they said. Be practical. Grow up. And I listened. I buried that part of myself. I traded my sketchbooks for spreadsheets, my dreams for promotions, my joy for safety. And I told myself I was being responsible. That being an adult meant setting aside childish things. But here's the truth, they weren't childish. They were me. It takes courage to be who you truly are in a world that constantly tries to shape you. It takes courage to say, "This is what I love," when others raise their eyebrows. It takes courage to walk a different path, to make art, to start late, to fail publicly, to try again. I didn't have that courage. I chose the safer road. And now, decades later, I wonder what might have bloomed if I hadn't played so small. But it wasn't just my passion I ran from. It was people. Truths. Myself. I didn't always say what I meant. I avoided hard conversations. I stayed in relationships longer than I should have, because I feared being alone. I swallowed my opinions to keep the peace, even when the silence felt like a betrayal of who I was. I watched others speak their truth, sometimes trembling, but always free, and I envied them. I admired people who dared to be bold, who wore their weirdness proudly, who chased what lit them up inside. And deep down, I knew I could be one of them, if only I had the nerve. But I didn't. So many times in life, I stood at a crossroads, and I let fear decide for me. I didn't ask for that promotion because I was afraid of hearing no. I didn't start that business because I was afraid of failing. I didn't move to that city because I was afraid of leaving what was familiar. I didn't tell her how I really felt because I was afraid of being hurt. And now, all those paths I never walked have vanished behind me, like fog dissolving in the sun. You see, fear is clever. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers just enough to keep you still. What if they laugh? What if you're not good enough? What if it's too late? And if you listen long enough, you start to believe it. But what I've learned, what I know now, is this: fear will always be there. Courage doesn't mean being fearless. It means moving forward anyway. Saying yes anyway. Showing up scared but showing up still. I spent too much of my life waiting for the fear to go away. Waiting to feel ready. Waiting for a sign. And in doing so, I let fear become the author of my story. Don't do that. If there's something inside you, a dream, a desire, a truth you've buried, bring it to the surface. Speak it. Chase it. Share it. Even if your voice shakes. Especially if your voice shakes. Because the deepest pain I carry isn't failure, it's wondering what might have happened if I had just dared to try. And courage isn't just about the big things. Sometimes it's the bravery to rest, to heal, to ask for help, to admit you're wrong, to love yourself in a world that profits from your insecurity. I wish I'd had the courage to be more honest, to say no when I meant no, to say yes to the things that scared me, to be seen for who I truly was, not just who I thought I had to be. I wish I had told more people how proud I was of them. I wish I'd danced more, sung badly at karaoke, cried in front of friends, worn whatever made me feel alive, not just what was acceptable. I wish I'd stood up for others more boldly. I wish I had stood up for myself. But most of all, I wish I'd lived less from fear and more from love. Now, at 87, facing the end, I don't think about the times I looked foolish. I don't regret the times I failed. I regret the times I hid, the times I shrank, The times I let fear sit in the driver's seat while my dreams gathered dust in the back. So if you're watching this and something inside you has been waiting, don't wait anymore. The truth is, life doesn't offer guarantees. You can play it safe and still lose everything. You can follow all the rules and still feel empty. So why not live fully? Have the courage to fail. Have the courage to look silly. Have the courage to chase what lights you up. Have the courage to begin again, no matter how old you are or how many times you've fallen. That's the third regret, the courage I didn't have. And now, as I sit here in these final days, I realize something powerful. While I can't go back and change my past, I can share it. I can offer my regrets as a gift, so maybe you won't have to carry them too. So here they are. 1. The love I let go. 2. The time I thought I had. 3. The courage I didn't have. They're heavy. But if you hold them for a moment, if you really feel them, maybe, just maybe, they'll help you make different choices. You still have time. You still have people. You still have dreams. You still have breath in your lungs and light in your eyes. Use it, all of it. Because one day, you'll be 87 too. And the story you tell will be shaped by the choices you make right now. Let that story be bold. Let it be brave. Let it be yours.